So the casting process for Band of Brothers was interesting because I sort of started doing night work. I was working in a warehouse and I was just so tired in the day. It was nighttime work, so I started at 8, finished at 7 in the morning, and I was too tired to audition. And then I said, I gotta stop doing this job, quit that job, and within like a week, I got an audition for Pearl Harbor and Band of Brothers. I thought it was like I was on the up and up after that, and then I didn't work for years afterwards. This is Explain This, and I'm Michael Fassbender. Always. I mean, that's like the one, you know, Magneto, X-Men, that's definitely my biggest fan base out there. And I'm very grateful to them. And I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to play that part. The training was basically the beginning of CrossFit, that the exercises were intense. Probably I would say the stuff that we were doing is super hard training, but I trained a lot anyway. I kind of need it just for my mental stability and just to have a sort of positive sort of, you know, start to the day. I like to train. I did it a lot on this job. In fact, most mornings I was in before. Certainly every time we were shooting in the studio, I'd be in the gym first and then into makeup and start the day. I guess Steve Jobs would be an interesting one. He's just, it's like a Henry Ford, isn't it? I mean, the world that we're living in now, a lot of it, you know, in terms of how technology is such a part of our world was really his vision. So it would be, you know, I think an interesting conversation for sure. Well, I always try and approach it from a place of understanding as opposed to judgment. I think that's bad if I'm sort of trying to fill this person's shoes or get under their skin, if I'm kind of like judging them. It's important that somebody plays that despicable character to tell Solomon's story. And then, you know, it's the complexity of somebody who's got a lot of power and is not very intelligent. And on top of that, he's battling issues because he's in love with Patsy, but that he's not allowed to be. So rather than going, this is an evil guy who's you know, it's very difficult for me to use the word evil in trying to construct a character. But if I can, you know, use those other things where it's like, where's he coming from? You know, he's massively insecure because he's not very well equipped mentally. And this guy Solomon is much more intelligent than him, but he's supposed to be beneath him. You know, there's a lot of complexity going on. So I try and delve into that. And I find like that helps with just bringing more dimension to a character like that. For sure, I mean, I love working with Ridley. Yeah, it was such a great experience. He's phenomenal. He's such an inspiration. You know, he does these big films. They're so difficult to make. And he's just, you know, he's a master. He's fantastic. I don't know, I just love all of their stuff. I love them more than anything. You know, I had no idea who they were until the script came in and they were like, oh, they want you to play one of the guy's dads. Do you know, have you heard about them? And I was like, no. So I just started Googling them and I saw their music videos and I was just like, I'm in. I love these guys. And they were a joy to work with. They're super smart. They're doing exactly what they should be doing. They're real artists. They're the real deal. I've always just loved cars from when I was a really young boy and just always wanting like pedal go-karts as opposed to a bicycle. And then when I started, you know, driving, I just felt like I had an affinity to it. The addictive aspect of it, I think, is just getting into a state of non-thinking. I try to do it with acting, but I guess sport in a way forces you more into that state, especially something that when things are moving so fast, you're moving so fast and you've got to hit certain points and find apexes. You kind of get into a state of flow. That I find probably the most addictive part of it. What do I think is the hardest part about being a spy? Sacrifice of personal relationships. All right, the internet asked and I answered. Hopefully I cleared some things up. Thank you for watching.